Hello, welcome to Win Some Loosemore. My name is Dieter and you join me for a review of Love Letter that comes in this velvety bag. This is the game that kind of kicked off the micro game kind of ideas. It's micro in pretty much every way. This is tiny deck of 16 cards, a couple of cubes. Comes in this little bag. I bought this for £1 in a charity shop, but even new it's like £10, and it's micro in its time. This takes 10 minutes maybe to complete, depending on the number of people and how long you're going for. I've had this one for a long time. This is not a new game. There's a relatively newish version. This isn't it, but I wanted to kind of bring it back up because it's been a game that's worked really well in recent times for me. So I want to go through kind of my 6 categories on what I look for in a game, talk about the positives and negatives for this within this review. I'm not going to talk about necessarily how it works. I'll allude to it, obviously, but I've done a separate video for that, so do check that one out as well. As I say, this is a game I played a long time ago. I'm talking a long time ago for me within the hobby, so 3-4 years ago I'd first played this as a different thing. I'm actually going to skip my first point, which is typically mechanisms. I will come back to that. I'm going to skip ahead to theme, because I played this originally, well, the first time I played this was a different version of Love Letter called Letters to Santa. This is a Christmas themed one. The rules, I believe, were exactly the same. This game had taken off and they decided to reprint it in a holiday theme, and now I want to say that there are like 20 different versions of this game at least. There's The Hobbit, there's Batman, there's Marvel, there's Christmas, there's just plain old Love Letter. There's loads and loads of different IPs, intellectual properties, that have been put onto this game. Some of them change the rules slightly, particularly the new Marvel one is a one versus many, one person playing Thanos trying to get the Infinity Stones. It's the current kind of hype theme within Marvel at the moment. So the theme simultaneously is a good and bad thing. This original theme is you're all trying to get your love letter to the princess, and you're trying to see who has the letter, and they're all trying to win her favor, but she's in the game, and if you get caught with various people, you lose. Although this is the original theme, this and maybe Letters to Santa with the basic rules, as much as I think the rules, we'll come back to mechanisms in a minute, are the smoothest and the cleanest, probably makes the least thematic sense. The new Marvel one probably makes one of the most thematic sense. I know people like the Hobbit one because there's something about the Lord of the Rings when you're finding the ring and other things, they add rules to it. But this one is a little bit semi-pasted on, semi-just it exists and go with it. And that works for me because I like mechanisms over theme, not I like there to be a theme. I like a theme that works. An evocative one is a wonderful thing, but I'm okay with just being able to ignore this, because for me that then helps bring out and bring to the forefront these mechanisms. So I'll move back to that. And the mechanisms are incredibly simple. You draw a card, you play a card, and they all have powers on, and you're trying to balance that choice between, do I want to keep this highest card just in the off chance that it comes down to a comparison either through the Baron, or all the cards run out and we check who has the high card, I need to hold on to that, or I have the Princess, which is really challenging to have particularly early on because there's all these cards going to be played and you can't get rid of her. If ever you discard the Princess for any reason, you lose, so you can't play that. But then some of the cards twist that round with the Countess and say if she's the second highest, but if you have her and one of these other cards in your hand, you have to play her, and she doesn't do anything. It's just this really clever set of powers that seem to scale with the point value of those cards. They've balanced that really well. So that would be the kind of first thing. The other thing that I would say for mechanisms, the cubes don't really matter. So this is then linking back to that theme, because it's just favor tokens, because it's just each round is a cube, that's fine. it doesn't really matter. And so you can just play this as long as you like. I get that you need a finite end point, but we have found, I taught this at work recently on our lunch breaks and things, and it's just so breezy, so quick, that we'll play 2 or 3 games, not just rounds, we'll play 2 or 3 games in a row. It's such a good filler game just to go, yeah, we've got 10 minutes, let's do this, let's see how it goes. It works really well for that. And then the final thing for mechanisms, is that it? Yeah, I think the other stuff will come up in audience, so we'll get to that. So the mechanism's really simple, really easy to learn, really clear, really clean, kind of help the theme, kind of don't. But art. Now I've got an older version, so if you do watch my rough rules video, you'll see kind of the classic images, I suppose. There's recently-ish re-released with Andrew Bosley art. I love Andrew Bosley art. It's beautiful. He's one of my favourite artists. Even from just a couple of games of his work that I've got. It's beautiful stuff, and it doesn't seem to have affected the price any, so it's more diverse as well. These are all just stuffy old white people in mine. They've made it more diverse, they've made it just more beautiful, so a newer version, if you're going to go out and get this new, your artwork will be better than mine, and I think that does just elevate it and make it feel even nicer to play. The graphic design is super simple. I'm not sure if it counts as graphic design, but having that card, the extra card that tells you how many of each card is in the game and what their power does, a little crib sheet just to help you, partly for the figuring out what people might have, because all cards that have been played should be visible all the time, so you can kind of figure it out and suss it out and weigh people how they're behaving. There's that element of social deduction, and that's a really helpful thing. That's a good choice. I think very originally that information used to be on the cards. I think they had stars on them, which just clogged up the visuals. So I'm glad they moved that to a separate card, and I hope that's still the same in the new version. I don't actually know. I haven't seen it. My middle brother has a big box version with lots of expansions and different versions of the game all thrown in, so I'd be interested to play his and see what extra things they've put and how they've managed to display that on the cards as well, so it doesn't get too confusing. They've managed to make this so clear in their graphic design. The production, as I say, my brother's got a big box version, so there are versions that come in a box, but most of them come in these weird little bags. And this thing comes in a plastic, what they call, I think, clamshell product when you buy it, but then you don't keep those. That's just a bit of plastic to house this. I get almost the thematic tie for it being in a bag, but it feels a little bit weird to me. Like, literally feels a little bit weird to me. I don't overly like it. But it works. You can carry it around. I stick it in my bag. It doesn't get damaged. It's fine. You're not worried about cardboard boxes getting dinged and corners being roughed up. It's so few components inside that you're not worried about that getting damaged either. So it does its job. It evokes a little bit of theme, but it's now just so synonymous with the game. Even the new Marvel one comes in a purple bag. Like it's just what they do. So fair enough. As I say, they've changed the art in the new one. They've changed the tokens as well. Mine are just the little red cubes, which fine, they do the job. But I think they've upgraded that either to hearts or these little symbols. I can't remember, but they've improved their production quality. And as I say, across these other versions of the game, there'll be slightly different things. So the production is appropriate to the level of game that you've got to keep it at the price point that you would want it to be. So production, good. Appropriate. But audience, as ever with the kinds of games that I've been reviewing so far, these are the games that I can play with anybody. And they're the ones that have been coming up recently because I'm in a position not to be sitting around with my game group. Most of that is done online now. And so anytime I get to play with a physical person, typically they're not gamers because it's the circumstances I'm in. Like having moved in with my bubble for a bit, that's my parents, and they're not gamers, but I can pull this out and we can play for 10 minutes, or we can play for half an hour. Or in the past, I've just taught it to families, or, as I say, people at work, or wherever it might be. This is so easy to teach. And so the scope of this game is exceptional. In 2-player, they managed to balance out the level of information with the cards being flipped over, 3 cards at the beginning, so it's almost as if somebody's played other cards, so you can figure that out, so you're not left completely blind on that first turn. My only complaint with the scaling in the audience is the king in 2-player feels pointless, and actually he becomes, because he lets you swap hands. In a 2-player game, if you immediately know what they've got and they hand you like a guard, that's super unfair. You just immediately play it and go, you've got whatever I gave you because I know that. So it's not super ideal. So it becomes almost a thing you're trying to get rid of, but at the right time, because it's a high number. It's a 6 out of 8. So it does change the dynamic slightly. I like it less. But at 2-player, it's going super fast, and there is no player elimination, because as soon as one person's out, that's the end of the round. You pick it up, you carry on. And I think I alluded to this earlier. I think with elimination, this game is so fast that even if you go out, you're waiting a minute to be doing the next round. And if you keep going out and you're not winning stuff, give it 3 rounds. Luck of the draw. This is quite a lucky game because it is. It's just a small deck of cards. It doesn't matter. You'll be in it again, and if you completely drop out and lose a game like 7-0 in a 2-player game, chances are that's taken 5-10 minutes, and you can just play again if you want, and you'll be more involved just because of the way things go. It's a really good one. Excellent scope, relatively inexpensive. So I think this is for a wide range of people. Say only 2 to 4. It feels like it should play for more, but I'll take a 2 to 4 at this point. So that, reach over, touch this weird little bag again, is Love Letter. That is my review of it. Thank you very much for watching. I would ask you to do the usual things: subscribing, hit the bell icon so you stay updated when I put out new things. Do find me on social media. Just search Win Some Loosemore. Follow me on there. It'd be great to get in touch with you. You get to see the kind of games that I'm playing. I put some of them up here for now. That's it, I think. I can't think of anything else. I hope you're keeping well. I'll see you again. I've been Dieter for Win Some Loosemore. Goodbye.